Hello, this is Sam, and this is a new kind of video that is probably may make a couple of more in the next couple of months. This is a political video. Now, first of all, this video isn't going to be politically biased, and I'm not going to express my political views or opinion politically. I'm just going to give people a rundown on British politics at the moment and how important the next July, the next 6 months or even the next couple of years of the politics currently in the UK and how important it is for the future of the economy, the constitution, and people's faith in politics. Now, as you know, Britain voted to leave the European Union in 2016 by a majority of 1.6 million votes, I think. And well, 3 years on, we're still not left, and we're currently in a way you can't. It's not really, you can't say 100%, but we're more or less in a constitutional crisis because at the moment we've just had a new we now have a new prime minister in Boris Johnson, who is a conservative and a Brexiteer. Well, yeah, and he obviously wants to deliver Brexit. Now, Parliament's going to have a break now until September 2nd. Now, the next couple of months are going to shape our country's future and politics because the way now at the moment I'm going to go out and explain what I think is going to happen now in the next up until the end of next year. Now, when Parliament comes back, obviously Boris Johnson has pledged that he's first going to try and renegotiate a better deal that he wants to pass through Parliament, and that is first choice. Now, most people must know that that's not true. I don't think Boris has any intention of getting a new deal or renegotiating the withdrawal agreement. He doesn't have any. I'm not slagging him off here. I'm just saying he doesn't have any intention of doing so, because if you can see by his cabinet appointments, he's not only preparing for a general election, he's preparing for a no-deal Brexit, because eventually Boris is going to say that, oh, the EU haven't agreed with me. They've been he's going to blame the EU basically that they couldn't get a deal. So then Boris is then going to do exactly what he said. He's going to say, right, we can't get a deal. We're now going to leave the EU without a deal on the 31st of October. Okay. Now when that happens, this is where crunch time begins. This is where a lot of stuff is going to go down in a very short period of time. When that happens, I believe Boris, two things are going to happen, but I think both are going to lead to the same outcome. One, Boris calls a general election to get a mandate for a no deal. However, to be honest with you, it has just said that he's ruled out calling a general election before Brexit has been delivered. So maybe maybe not, but I think it would be politically better for him to call a general election, say this is the only way we're going to be able to leave the EU, and say, if you want to leave the EU, vote Conservative. And also, this is something that's really bad, actually quite bad, because the next general election is going to be nearly totally about Brexit. Unless a party makes a massive political pledge that's either really bad or really good, people aren't going to care. People are only going to care about each party's Brexit position. But anyway, either Boris is going to do that, or the most realistic thing that I think is going to happen is Jeremy Corbyn, as the leader of the opposition, the Labour Party, will call for motions of no confidence in the government, because obviously no deal is bad, according to him. And he will then most likely win that, because most likely nearly all Labour, I think all Labour MPs, I know some of them support Leave, and they may actually, you never know, they may actually support the government in that. I don't know if there's been any hearings about that. All Labour MPs, all the SNP, all the Liberal Democrats, all of Plaid Cymru, all of the Greens, all of the independent group, all of the independents who are from the independent group, some independents, and then a good amount of Conservatives will vote to bring down their own government. And there is clearly a majority that will, in the Commons, that would win that. Now, when that happens, and my time frame on this would be whenever Boris is going to, and I think the second Parliament opens that Boris pledges for a no deal, a no confidence motion will be, pledged. So let's say Boris pursues a no deal on the 15th of October. The next day, a motion of no confidence will be called, and then the day after that, it will be voted on. Now, when the confidence vote is voted on, there'll be a 2-week period if it's the government's brought down where a new government can try to be formed. Now, there's a tiny chance that a government could be formed where it'd be much in favour of Remain, and that now if that government was to be formed, Labour would be at the head of that government. There isn't Labour would, I'm pretty sure, be the largest party, because I think at least there's at least 150 supporting there's a sizable, I think there's definitely over 120 Conservative MPs who want to leave the EU, and then probably a lot more than that, to be honest. I know there's a big, the ERG is quite large, the European Research Group, but I think if that were to happen, yeah, he would, wouldn't he? Because Jeremy Corbyn would become Prime Minister if that was to happen. But I don't believe that is going to happen, because I don't think Jeremy Corbyn or the Labour Party will want a general election. They want to get in power as best they can in the majority. And I don't think that would happen, but we'll see. Once that, after 2 weeks is happening, if no government has been formed, a general election will be triggered. Okay, now I'm predicting we're going to have a Christmas general election, and yeah, we're going to have a Christmas general election. I think it will be in early December or late November. We'll have the general election. This general election is going to be pivotal, and also, it's really going to be, in a way, a rerun of the referendum, because, as I said, Brexit is going to be, I can go as far as saying 99% the main issue. You know, because that's it's unbelievable to think that we will have a general election that is mainly one issue, and that's why the Brexit Party will be able to do really well. But I'll get onto that in a minute. When we have this general election, I believe fundamentally that Boris will form an electoral pact with the Brexit Party. It makes total sense, and unless he actually, I don't think, there's a lot of evidence that he can take nearly all their votes to actually, not need to form an electoral pact. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he might as well just make an electoral pact and guarantee that their votes will go to, obviously, like the Cooperative Party made an electoral pact with Labour, and obviously that's they don't. I think the way an electoral pact works is that the Brexit Party would just say that. I don't know if they made the road. I don't know actually how that go. But anyway, if they did form an electoral pact with the Conservatives, at the moment, if a general election was called, they would win a majority, because the Leave vote, the majority of the Leave vote would go to. And when I say majority, I'm talking very high here. I don't want to pick a number on that, but nearly everyone who votes Leave. It's very good. I think so. If he forms an electoral pact, I don't know. A lot of Leavers. See, there's a risk, because a lot of Leavers who vote for the Brexit Party could have come from Labour, and are they really going to then vote Tory? Because they may think that this is not going to last, this government, so they may do. But at this moment in time, if that were to happen, a majority government will be formed with the Brexit Party and the Conservative Party, either coalition or a majority for the Conservatives alone. Once that happens, we're leaving the EU without a deal. Done. There's nothing else can happen. We're leaving the EU without a deal. And if that does happen, I'm very interested to see the reaction of the other parties, but this is where the thing that the Remain side is going to have to do. Labour, who are now, you can say a Remain party, they've pledged for a second referendum, they're going to campaign for Remain. The only thing they leave is that if there's a general election, they could negotiate their own Brexit deal, but they won't do that. No matter what, they're going to go to a second referendum. It's just Corbyn maybe holding on to his last hope of not trying to attract some Leave voters, but it's not working. But so obviously what Labour, the SNP, the Liberal Democrats, Plaid Cymru and the Greens are going to have to do is form a Remain alliance. Now this is for a general election. I don't know if Labour will want to do that, but the thing is, if they don't, we're leaving the EU without a deal, and Labour don't want that. Because the Liberal Democrats at the moment have got Jo Swinson, who is definitely more centre-right than she is centre-left. Obviously, Corbyn isn't centre-left, he's left-wing, fully socialist, that would make the election truly a one single issue. If Labour do end up doing that, it will become Remain versus Leave. Now, if Labour do that, the way the arithmetic works, Labour would probably get in with a massive confidence supply with, you know, all the other parties except for the Tories and the Brexit Party and the DUP. And then they will get in and they will pass legislation for a second referendum, and they would be able to pass that. And then we would have a second referendum which would have Remain or No Deal on the ballot. And then, I believe, my time frame is no confidence vote in October, general election in December, and I believe there will be a second referendum because I think Labour are going to end up doing that. And then a second referendum in May of 2020. And then, I think that either we Remain or we leave out a deal, and I can't even begin to say what will happen with either of those two outcomes. I think leave it, no deal would be much more accepted, I know, by Remainers than remaining in the EU than leavers, because I'll get onto that last point in a minute. And after that second referendum, when Brexit is supposedly completely sorted out, I think then there'll be another general election before the end of next year to actually get to have like a general election on actual policies and agenda. I just feel like I believe by the end of next year we would have had 2 general elections and another referendum. Okay? But now these are the few important things, okay? I'm honestly saying, in my opinion, I don't want to get onto my... No, I can say this. If we remain in the EU, no matter if we remain in the EU and have a second referendum, that is going to cause massive consequences for the future of politics, because you've got to realise that if we do end up remaining in the EU, clearly a few people have changed their minds, but it will be close. It might even be closer than last time. You're going to have over 15 million people. Oh, sorry, just let that ding. You're going to have over 15 million people feeling betrayed because they're not leaving the EU. Now, I'm just saying that in case there's a big swing. Those people, number one, anyone who voted Leave for Labour in 2017, and who voted Labour in 2017 and voted Leave in 2016, how can they ever want to vote for Labour again? Because I don't know how many people have voted Leave to support a referendum. I'd say, I could go and say less than half. One of the most smallest majorities of people who voted Leave, who want to leave again, support a referendum. Some people support it because they just want to. I think we are going to need a second referendum, because I think that's the only way we're going to actually. I never wanted it, and I really don't want it. I wish we could leave, but Remainers now, realistically, as you can see, are now completely for a second referendum. They're never going to take anything but that. But if we don't leave, there's going to be massive consequences. First of all, if we don't leave, Nigel Farage is going to become, the Brexit Party are going to become a massive political force in politics properly. Not that they already haven't, but I'm talking on a general election footing. In the next general election, even if they do end up having their own party and don't fall electoral pact with Boris, they're not going to get enough votes to really have a big thing. But if we don't leave and we vote to, we Remain, I don't know how. I feel like I don't know how it's going to go. Honestly, really, I can't. I think I've left a lot out there and a lot could change. But this time next year, honestly, really don't know where we're going to be. But the rest of it, beginning September and ending December of this year are going to be massive, because they're going to begin everything. Now, one thing could put a spanner in the works, okay? One thing, okay? There are rumours that it could happen. There are rumours that President Macron, of the French president, could veto an extension and make us leave without a deal. Because we can always ask for an extension, but if one EU nation say we don't want to, we're leaving without a deal. And if that happens, are we gonna have a general election to apply to become? I just feel like whatever happens, no matter what, people Remainers until until they get a second referendum, they're not going to stop talking about it. Nothing will ever solve that. And if we do have a second referendum, and we do, like people advocating even Labour and obviously nearly everyone who's on the Remain side advocating how bad a no deal is. If we leave without a deal, I don't know how they're going to take it, because I remember in 2016 when we voted to leave, Chuka Ramuna came on, who was Labour then, came on at the end talking about it, and he more or less said in blatant terms that the British people have made the wrong decision. It's going to have terrible economic causes for our country, and it's stupid. He didn't say he didn't call the British people stupid, but it's the closest I've ever seen a politician saying that the British people are idiots and wrong because they didn't agree with him. Is he going to come out after a second referendum, after a no deal, we vote for no deal, even if we don't, if we do, I'm just saying if we do, and say, okay, we'll leave without a deal, I'm going to do my best to deliver this. No. I don't know if they'll be able to stomach that. And whatever you think of a no deal, but I think I finished now. I think that's all I need to say. But I've just a rundown of the unbelievable constitutional politics has never been more important and never more interesting. I got into politics during the Scottish independence referendum in 2014, and since then, that's 5 years on, I've been non-stop interested in it. But I can't believe anyone would have fit. Imagine if someone had told David Cameron back in 2015 when he pledged for a referendum to leave the EU or remain in it, what would happen 4 years later. Without a referendum, we'd still have Cameron in government. It's just unbelievable how that one decision has changed. If we'd voted to remain again, it's just not that I'm saying voting to leave is wrong. There's nothing. I think personally, I think there's very valid good reasons to leave or remain. I'm not going to tell you which one I prefer, but there are valid reasons to remain and leave, and that's why it was so close. Because a lot of people. Anyway, I think I don't want to get onto that that's all. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. But next 6 months, massive. So it's been Sam. I hope you've enjoyed. Bye bye.